Prime Minister Perry Christie has responded to businessman Craig Flowers, who says he would shut down his number houses if there is a predominant no vote come Monday.
Now, 6 days before the referendum, Mr. Christie is also shedding more light on what impact, if any, previously drafted legislation would have on the industry should a yes vote be passed.
Our Janelle Noel Ferguson spoke with the Prime Minister today as he also addressed the commentary of some members of his party on the controversial issue.
One web shop owner says he will shut down all of his operations here in New Providence and in the Family Islands if the vote on referendum day is no. But Prime Minister Perry Christie admits that online operations of gaming in any event would be hard to police.
Mr. Flowers, I'm advised, is licensed in the Turks and Caicos Islands to conduct gaming, and I presume that he is able to do that and still conduct his internet gaming from the Turks and Caicos. I mean, I don't want to suggest anything otherwise, but one of the realities that we have to deal with is how does one go about addressing internet gaming. It's a very difficult subject. Gaming in itself, the impossibility of stopping people from doing what they want to do. Laws haven't been designed by man that have effectively stopped any kind of illegal operation.
And if the vote is yes, Mr. Christie says the government plans to put the proper legislation in place. Now, the former administration had already drafted legislation to regulate the industry. Mr. Christie says his government won't use that as a guideline.
No. It will be put into the mix. So I bring some knowledge and expertise about casino operations, and therefore I'm able to apply that to web shop operations. And what we want to do is we want to have comprehensive legislation and to see the extent to which we can use the Lotteries and Gaming Act that exists by way of amending them. Because many years ago, 1969 in fact, lotteries were provided for. It was anticipated by the legislation, but by now we would have lotteries.
But whether the vote is yes or no, Mr. Christie insists that this continues to be a difficult and mammoth task for the government to deal with. And although he has maintained that he has no horse in this race, that has not stopped other government and party officials from making their position loud and clear. When asked if maybe they should have kept their opinions private for the time being, Mr. Christie had this to say.
That take someone like Obi Wilscombe, who's a member of my government. For 20 years, he has been arguing that Bahamians ought to have the right to gamble in the casinos. He happens to be one of those people who philosophically and spiritually did not see any kind of objection to it if it is properly regulated. I presume that those persons who you're referring to, Bradley Roberts, he's not a member of the cabinet, but I presume that they have the right to express themselves. I have elected not to have a horse, not to indicate what I thought the government's position ought to be. That is what I've stayed with, and it is what it is.
Voters head to the polls on January 28th. Janelle Noel Ferguson, ZNS Network News.